All right. Thanks for coming, everyone. My name is Alex Lemintuev, and I'm the guy behind Lunar Plugin. Today, I'm gonna be talking about the plugin itself, plus sharing some insights about affecting game development. Okay, so what's Lunar? Lunar is obviously a Unity plugin, and it brings a command line interface or shell into your game. On top of that, it's really powerful config management and cheating system. What's into it for you? Why do you need that? So, to be honest, when you develop a game for a while, you kind of get sick of it. You play the same parts over and over again just to get to the point you need. It might be fun in the beginning, but when you kill this first guy for the first 200 times, you kind of think, all right, I need to do something about it, and I need my own cheat system. And you start building a cheat system. Sometimes it's small, then it goes big, and it's buggy, and you end up accidentally publishing debug cheats in your production code. It's like an extreme case, but I've been in a situation like that. So I tried many different solutions, and I realized that the most efficient one is one which involves command line, when you can actually type it and use quick auto-completion to do stuff what you want. When preparing to this talk, I actually found like a screen capture of my old game, which I was developing years ago, and I pray the guy is gonna work. This is how I do. So I set some parameters like fuse time, so I want these bombs to explode in 20 seconds, and I just start testing stuff. This was my network physics test. I don't really want these bombs to be deployed in 2 seconds. Instead, I have 20 seconds just to see if everything works, and I made myself really fast to see if collisions works well and all the stuff. And all I did is just type a couple lines in the beginning. All right, and now 20 seconds it exploded. Should you pay for it? No, it's free. You can go here and check the source code. It's really awesome. You can grab it from Asset Store. Okay, so today's agenda. We're gonna have a quick start, but it's not gonna be like the full intro. I have a pretty nice user guide on GitHub. It's just to scratch the surface so you can see what I'm doing in my live demo. We're gonna learn as we go. Live demo itself and Q&A if you have time. Basic stuff with Lunar. It's commands. It's basically stuff which you can run from the terminal. Does anyone use terminal, Unix shell? All right. Config variables. It's a value you can set from the command line and then access in your code. Key bindings. It's when you can bind a shortcut, mouse button, or joystick to any of commands you want instead of typing it all the time. Aliases. It's when you basically attach a nice and short name for a command or a set of commands. Just not to type it all the time, just type something short. And the last one, config files. I'll go in great details with that. This is how you manage different sets for your game. For example, you want to start having that amount of health at this level, and etc. If you want to create a command, you define a class. You extend it from C command, which resides in Lunar plugin namespace. Then you tell Lunar which name you want to use, and basically this attribute helps you to resolve at runtime. You don't need to register it. You just define a class and you're good. And then you can define any number of execute methods, and it accepts any number of arguments you want, any types. It's type safe. If you set integer here, it's going to pass integer and going to tell you if it's not a valid integer. So for this one, if you run it from the terminal, say hello Bob, it's going to say hello Bob. What is config variable? As I said, it's a value you can set from the command line. So to create one, you basically create an object of type cvar. You pass the name and you pass, this is the value. It's default value for the variable. Lunar supports a bunch of different variable types for variable, and it gets the type from the type you pass here. So for this example, it's going to be a cvar named God mode, which is going to be false by default, and it's going to be Boolean. And plus, you need to resolve those variables before the very first frame of your game starts. So you need to attach this cvar containing attribute. In this case, you don't need to register it. You just define this class, you throw objects, and you're good. And you can load them from config and do all kinds of stuff. How it works? So for that case with God mode 1 set it to true, God mode 0 set to false. Toggle is like switch. if it was false, true, and vice versa. And reset brings it to default state. Here's how you use it in code. So cvar get mode boolean value, and this is a linear call. It's not a lookup. It's actually an object. It's called a property. It's extremely fast. There is no any kind of dictionaries lookup parsing. It parses when it loads just once. Bind a key, you bind a shortcut, mouse button, or wherever. And the last one is really cool. When you hold right mouse button, got mode is true. When you release it, it's false. Aliases. As I said, you attach a short name for a command or set of commands. This is what you can do. And when you're done with that, you can do an alias. 4 types of config. Default, basically, it's a text file which stores all your variables, bindings, aliases. When you just type them in command line, it stores in the file automatically. Auto-exec gets executed every time plugin initialized, both in play mode and in the edit mode. And play mode, it only executes in the play mode, because sometimes you need to modify stuff only in play mode and not change your scene accidentally. And the last type, it's your custom configs. So you can put anything you want there and execute anytime you want. It's not automatically. To execute config, you type exec config name, and it has like really nice auto-completion. So we just exec, hit double tap, and it displays all configs you have. And to show the content of the config, you do cat and config name, and it's going to print out. I'm going to show it. Okay, so I hate talking. I like doing live demo. So the first project we're going to do today, it's a 2D roguelike. If anyone has a laptop, which I can't see right now. Oh, all right. If you want to follow along, you can grab it from GitHub. I have 2 versions. One is master, which is like final result we're going to have today, and one is clean, which I'm going to be using right now. Where's Unity? All right. I'm going to load this in. And who knows this project? Who knows 2D roguelike? So yeah, if you don't know it, it's not a big deal. It's one of Unity sample project. It's really cool. So if you're learning, great learning material. I'm gonna play it a bit. Oh, I want to maximize. It's roguelike. Your foot points is basically your health. Every time you move, you decrease your foot points. You can pick them up, and when you got to exit, it's a single scene game. So the game engine just reloads your scene, increasing level number, and generates this stuff. Here's an enemy, and if you meet him, you're gonna lose your foot way faster. What's obviously wrong with this game? It's not wrong, but what makes it hard to test? Every time you run it, day 1, and day 1 is not much of a day 1. If you want to change it, you actually can go to the code, find this game manager class, and there's a private int variable, and you can override it. But you don't really want to put it in your code or put like in inspector, because you can accidentally commit that. When you save your scene, bunch of stuff gets saved, and then your user is going to start at day 10. This is not what we want. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to add commands for moving between days, restarting days, and moving to arbitrary days. So to do that, we're going to start with, come on. All right. We're going to start with adding Lunar to your project. So you go to, if you don't know how to do that, you window, and where is it? Asset store. You look up plugin by name, so you basically type Lunar, and here we go. I have already downloaded that, so just going to hit import. Okay, select everything, import it. Everything compiles well, I hope. All right, so we're going to start by creating command. My personal preference is just to keep them in the editor folder. At this point, Lunar is for editor only, but I'm going to be releasing mobile and standalone support, but I just want not to impact my game in any way. So by keeping it in the editor folder, it's going to be only in the editor. So no matter what you do, you're not going to screw up. We create a new C# script called commands. It doesn't matter how we call it, but I just call it commands. You open in monodevelop, and I'm gonna do it. Is it fine? Okay, so basically we don't need this class. We're gonna delete it. We're gonna add using statement for using the Lunar plugin, and we're gonna start adding commands. Oh yes. Also, we should add using completed. This is a namespace for the project itself. Just don't worry about it. So we're gonna add a command for the next day. Once again, it's just a class with an execute method, and it derives from, in this case, it's a C play mode command. This command is only going to be executed in the play mode because there is no point of switching days in the editor because this level is generated at runtime. And we're going to start the game, and we're going to bring terminal window. So window Lunar terminal. Okay, so now it loads, and we type next or and we're at day 2, 3, 4, 5, wherever. So this is our next day. We're gonna go back and add a couple more. The one which goes back. So what it does is just gets a shared instance of game manager and calls next day or prep day. Restart does pretty much the same. So we're gonna save that, go back, launch the game. I do love the music in this game, but you can't hear it. Next. Pref. Start. Works like a charm, right? But as you can see, typing this stuff all the time is not that cool. So we can actually bind hotkeys to that. So I'm gonna use bind, close square bracket to pref, open square bracket to next, and R for restart. I'll go back to the game, and we start hitting those keys, and we go forward and backward. And restart. Next command we're gonna add is the one to start an arbitrary day, because like if you want to go to day 20, it's gonna take you a while. Come on. Pretty much the same, but you can see there is an integer parameter here. Let's see how it works. So first, we can always ask. Where'd it go? We can always. I need to.
You have a typo on that.
No, it's not a typo. It's just because this game gets initialized in start method, and when you come back and recompile stuff, you only get called awake, not start. So at some point, some objects got not initialized. Okay, so first of all, we're going to try it out. So day 10. All right. Day Bob. And now it says that Bob is clearly not a day. If you just type a day without arguments, it's gonna generate you that. So I haven't typed anything. It just takes the execute method and look it up, and it said like, hey, here's a usage day. And for those who use Unix shell, you know there's like man command which opens a manual page. So if you type man day, it's gonna gives you the description you put. So you basically can generate. I have a couple of more attributes for command. You can generate a nicely formatted month pages for it. All right. In the same fashion, we can add a command which gonna override our food amount. It's same. Once again, it accepts an integer argument and how it resolves player. So it just finds object of type player. If not, you can change the return type to bool, indicating if your command was successful or not. So if there is no player, said like sorry, no player, and it's just gonna override the food amount. So we're gonna save it, go back to Unity, play the game, and pretty much the same. So you type food, usage food, and you hit 120, for example, and you can see this amount here. So far so good, but imagine you want to test some particular case. For example, I want to test day 10 and food amount 90. I don't really want to every time start the game, type it, go there. For this case, we can use a config. So we go here and we're gonna use this. I'm gonna show write config command, which basically takes the current configuration and flushes into a file. We're gonna do write config play mode config, and we can see what is that. Right now it contains our bindings, and we don't really need that, so we're gonna edit that by passing E and remove that. Okay, and now we have day 10 food 90. We're gonna save that and play. And we day 10 food 90. Easy as that. And we haven't changed our code in a bit. We can go to this config and change it any way we want. For example, just in your data directory, application data path. Data path, it creates com space madness lunar /configs. Okay, and basically that was it for the roguelike. So as you can see, you can really quickly add days management and come back and forth. You can use auto start configs just to quickly jump you, throw you into the mode you want. And let's move on. If you want to, actually I have a video tutorial for this game on YouTube. It's called Unity 2D Roguelike Made Easy with Lunar Plugin. It's about 30 minutes, and I do way bunch of stuff with just those zombies, but I don't have time. Okay. The next project is Space Shooter. Anyone knows that? Space Shooter? It's just another Unity tutorial. If you go to unity.com, unity3d.com /learn, it's going to be a bunch of them. Oh, what happens? Space Shooter. Any questions so far?
Is there any difference between the plugin that you're getting from GitHub versus
Nope.
the plugin from?
I have a build system which basically first it builds a package and then creates a project, imports the project, and then pushes it to asset store. Chrome.
So this plugin like path independent?
Yeah. So here's the GitHub page. You can go to asset store. I have no idea who's this guy with low rating. If you put 1 star, please explain yourself. So you can grab it from the asset store, or there's like a quick start section, just like what I'm talking about, and a full user guide. So user guide, commands variable, it covers everything I have right now, and you can grab a latest release because sometimes release on GitHub can be like right away, and on the asset store it takes something up to 10 days to get it. So I'm gonna push it to GitHub first and then to the asset store. Okay, the next one is Space Shooter. It's really cool actually. Where is it? So it's a 3D top-down view game. I'm gonna play it. You control this little spacecraft with your arrow keys and mouse. So you hold mouse and you can kill those guys and you die. So what's obviously hard to test in this game? Everything is pretty fast and you die like one shot and you die. This is not good. This is not what we want. So we're actually gonna fix that. So once again, we're gonna start by importing the plugin. And here we're gonna actually use a built-in command in Lunar. So if you play the game, I'm gonna bring the terminal and we're gonna change time scale. So I'm gonna make it bigger. So mon time scale, which is basically sets how fast time goes. So for this one, we can make stuff really slow. Alright. And this is really cool because you can actually see how all those particle effects work. Because like you do particle effects, like you're like what? So it's gonna take a while since the first thing. Oh, here we go. So we're gonna slowly nudge here, and now watch that. And it's like, oh no, like, whew. It was a close one. So we can not just drop time scale, but make it faster. For example, I would prefer this game if it was like that. I'm gonna, oh, I just died. Like that, 2.0. All right, let's do that. Now we're playing. Now this game I like to play. But once again, typing that is not fun. We can try and make some aliases for that. For example, 0.1 is going to be very slow. So time scale 0.1, we're going to alias it to very slow. And then we're going to be just slow, and it's going to be 0.5. 1 with normal, 1. And 1 is fast, 2.0. Okay, so now if we play the game and we type very slow, we're really slow. We're so slow that we can't even move. If we do slow, oh, I died. And normal, oh, sorry, normal and fast. Once again, typing that is, oh my god, I died. Typing that is not cool, so we're gonna do key bindings. So we're gonna bind 1 to very slow, bind 2 to slow, bind 3 to normal, bind 4 to fast. All right, let's try it out. So we're gonna remove this window, play again. Oh. Didn't work? oh my god, it's alright. It's demo syndrome. It's alright. Okay, so I'm pressing 3, and it's like normal. Then 1, 2, and 4. Like woo, and then you're like. All right, this is how it works. But what else? What else not good? Those bad guys still can kill me, and I don't really like it. Let's fix that. So this is where config variables come in place. So we're going to add one. So we're going to asset folder, and we're going to create scripts folder. It's not necessary, but I'm just trying to follow what Unity suggests. Scripts, and we're going to create a C# scripts, cvars. It doesn't matter how you call it. You just need a container for your config variables. We're going to open it Monday. I saw this is going to join PowerPoint. Okay. We don't want this class to be mono behavior. We don't need this decoration. It's probably a good idea to make this class static. You can actually instantiate that. You don't need an instance of that. And I'm gonna cheat. No. We create a public static read-only. You don't really want to change this object. cvar gut mode, and I'm gonna make it bigger. And this is gonna be Boolean. Okay. Now I don't really want to die. And how to do that? We're gonna find. Oh no, it's not here. We're gonna find an asteroid object. Asteroid. Oh, and we're gonna examine it. it has a script called destroy by contact. Let's examine it. What it does, when you enter a trigger, I prepare it. If you return here, you're not gonna die. So what it does, you enter a collision, it does some checks, so no enemies, creates an explosion, adds scores, destroys self, and then if you find a player, you show an explosion and game over. And I don't really want it to happen, so I can see if cvars god mode. Okay. If we in a god mode, and so nothing works today. If we in god mode, we just return here and not gonna show game over. Oh, I know what I missed. Here we go. We can go to the terminal and set it. If we just do god mode, it says god mode is 0, default is 0. We set 1, check it again. God mode is 1, default is 1. Let's try it out. Yeah. Now unstoppable. So imagine this one. You really need to quickly skip a part of the game. You set god mode and timescale 4. Use there. Well. But as you can see, I'm not really sure if I'm in god mode or not. If I switch it off, still the same, but I just died, and I don't know if I was in a god mode in the first place. So we can change that. For every config variable, we can attach a listener, a delegate, which gonna be fired wherever the value changes. So when god mode changes, we're gonna change our player ship. We're gonna make it red. If it's god mode, you're gonna be red, so we can see instantly what's happening. To do that, we're gonna add a delegate. Best place to do that, same class container, static initializer. You take this variable, add delegate, create delegate. Just for this one, it's gonna show us if it's true or false. Everything compiles. Come on. Where's console output? And it didn't work for some reason. Okay, it's a demo item. If we take a look at the ship, we can see, where's the ship? We can see that it has a mesh renderer and 2 materials attached to that. So we're going to be overriding the color of the material to make it red. But we only we have to be careful because we don't really want to change it while being in the editor mode, because we switch and it's going to change our scene. We check if it's playing, and then we're going to find the player object. We're going to get mesh renderer, we're going to get materials, and if cvar is true, it's going to be red. If not, is Y. Okay, let me check it again. It should work. I need to restart. No, I said I need to restart it because we're going to be changing. Oh, here we go. Now we're in a god mode. And you can see there is a console output. So my plugin just decided to embarrass me that way. But once again, typing is no fun. Let's do binding. Let's do bindings here. Bind. And if we press double tap here, we can see all keys you can bind to. We're going to be using mouse. And mouse 0 is left, mouse 1 is right, and I'm not sure if the rest actually exists. God mode. So here I have a mouse, and okay, I'm pressing right button and holding. I let go. play, and if stuff goes really bad, you just hold right mouse button and you let it go, and then you die. All right. Once again, you can edit your play mode config just to get this behavior out of the box. So, for example, you want to start at 2.0 speed and be in a God mode. First of all, you're going to create a config, write config, play mode config, and then you're going to edit it. Oh. We don't really need that. All we need God mode 1 and time scale 2.0. I'm going to save that and play. And here we go. So you can set any configuration you want out of this box and don't type it. Do you have anything else? No. All right. The next one is Project Stealth. Who knows the Project Stealth? It's really old. You cannot even open it in Unity 5. And they said, like, you cannot open it in Unity 5. Please use Unity 4. So we're going to be using Unity 4. And lucky me, I got one. So here's Unity 4. It's going to take about 20 seconds. So any questions so far?
Yeah, you've been using it in playing the mode in the editor. Can you use the console in a compiled game?
Not right now. You can use it to run from your application, but I'm building UI for that. It's going to be different for standalone and mobile, because in mobile you don't have tab and all this stuff, keyboard. I'm building native UI for mobile, and like it's pretty much the same UI as in editor for standalone with new UI system. But it's going to take some time, but going to be released pretty soon. It works in the editor. It works both in the editor in the play mode, and it knows like in which mode you use, and you can configure your commands, variables, where it should be used or not. But yeah. Actually, I got a lot of feature requests by that, and it just takes some time. I don't really want to screw up your game with that, because here you can screw your game with my plugin because it all has this if Unity editor. So all this code is going to be actually stripped out from your final build. But I need to be really careful because you don't really want to install my plugin and just have some troubles, right?
Do you have like scene dependent configs? Like, so if I wanted a certain config for a certain scene loadout?
But this is not for scene loading, but you can create your custom config and call lunar.exec and pass exec config. So you can, from the application, let me show it to you. Everything you can do from command line, you can do from code as well. I don't remember how to name it. Exec command. Oh, here we go. This is basically how startup configs gets executed. It executes default config, auto exec, and play mode. If you want your custom config to be executed at some particular moment, for example, when you're in a particular scene load, you just add app exec command. And you can add one config to set values and one to clear them. Easy as that. You can bind config execution to a hotkey. You can bind one, exec, blah, blah, blah. Bind two, so you can quickly type. Okay, Project Stealth. This is one of the most amazing tutorials I ever seen. This is like a full feature 3D game. You have a pretty big maze, and your goal is just to reach the other end in one piece. And on top of that, you have like hostile environment, some angry robots who wants to kill you, and you need to find a key card. So let's demonstrate. So we go here, and you can see a security guard. Oh crap, he saw me. And basically that's it. I die. It's not interesting to test like that. So okay, I'm gonna go and test this camera, like, oh, and this guy starts shooting you. On top of that, you have like laser fences, same stuff, they're gonna be here in a moment, and security camera. So you run really fast. Oh, okay, he saw me, but you can believe me, if security camera sees you, it's gonna be the same. What are we gonna do? We're gonna add command to disable this crap. So you just tap a key or execute command, and everything is green, and you're good to go. Also, I'm showing you how to do custom autocompletion, because typing stuff is not good. All I want to do is just to type one letter, hit tab, get command, type another letter, hit argument, enter. 2.5 seconds. You can make a mistake with that. We're gonna import the plugin package. Oh, by the way, this is Unity 4.6, so I still keep backward compatibility, but it's not free. I need to do a lot of like pre-processing, and I'm probably gonna be dropping 4.6 soon. Okay, so we're gonna start like once again by adding commands. It's gonna be a single command this time. So my personal preference is go to editor folder and create a single C# script called commands. It doesn't matter where you put it, how you call it, but if you put it under the editor folder, it's not gonna affect your final build. Okay, we don't need that. We actually need. I'm gonna make it bigger. Oh, no, not that. A couple of using system collection generic. I guess that's it. And using not Lunar editor, Lunar plugin. Okay, actually you can use inheritance when you define commands. So for example, you can define a big abstract command and then just do bunch of create bunch of children of it. All Lunar cares about is just about this attribute on the top. So if you just create a class which is going to extend command, it's not going to do anything for you. Okay. I just created this giant command, and it looks gross. It is gross. It's going to be even bigger than that. But what it does, this is a basic command for my I'm going to have two commands, enable and disable. And this one is going to maintain a lookup dictionary. So you said enable, so you have a name, and then you pass a delegate. It's basically like what you're going to do. So instead of just hard coding stuff, you create a lookup. For example, enable camera, and you put code. All right. I'm going to take it as cheering. If you not fully understand it, it's not a big deal. I'm going to explain as I go. And it's going to have an execute method. This method is private. You don't need to override anything. Okay. You don't need to override anything. You can define the execute method. You can set any parameters you want. You can pass arrays, anything. It's really awesome. Okay, now we're going to derive two commands out of it. The first one going to be enable. Second going to be disable. As you can see, they just extend this command and they pass a Boolean flag, which is going to be like default behavior. In this case, you store a flag like should you enable stuff or disable it. Then when you execute, you set like enable or disable name. You go to your lookup dictionary, you find this delegate, and you pass this flag. At the end, you're just going to add the code, and this Boolean flag going to be passed, and you're going to do something about it. What we're going to disable and enable? Basically, we're going to let go of those guys, security guards, and security cameras, because if you go here, now you're dead. Okay, so we'll go back to develop, and we're going to build this lookup. We create a dictionary here, and now we're going to start populating that. The first one is going to be cameras. We add an item named cameras, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna find every object with a tag camera, and actually I went ahead and tagged them for you, and then you can see, okay, you have this enable disable flag, and in each camera we're gonna disable mesh collider, because they detect player by collision with mesh collider. So it's gonna be no collider, it's gonna be no collision detection, and it's not gonna be spotted. But you need to make sure you know if this is actually a cheat right now and not just something is broke. So instead of being red, those cameras are gonna go green. If anything green, you're good, organic. We're gonna quickly run to the camera. No, pass it. Like, this is frustrating, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna test. No, this guy. Okay, now we go. We're gonna bring the terminal window, and we're gonna set disable. And if you just run without arguments, it's like, hey, what the hell? I don't know what you're doing. So disable cameras. And now I need to type it, right? As you can see, this camera turned green. And I'm not sure where's the security guard. All right. And you can see nothing bad happens. If I've been standing in the camera and it said enable camera. This is a bad part because I'm typing too much. This is not good. But if I'm going to enable it, I'm dead. If I'm said enable foo, it said I don't know what foo is. So you're not going to make a typo or anything like that. Now we're going to add auto-completion. Instead of just disable cameras, you're going to type D top, C top, and you're good. So to do that, we're going to override a C command, one of C command methods. It's called autocomplete. I'm going to make it slower. So autocomplete, it passes the whole command line you have and the last token. It splits this token with and taken in account all the parentheses and all the stuff. So you're going to have the whole token. And it builds a list of suggestions for your autocompletion. What we're going to do, we're going to go to our lookup. And as you may remember, lookup holds a table for item and delegate. Item, what we delegate, what we disable, enable, delegate, how we do that. We're gonna iterate through them, and it's if name starts with this token, the last token, ignore case, we're gonna add it to suggestions, and then we suggested item. It's really hard to me to pronounce it. Don't laugh. Then we're gonna sort it just to be in nice sorted order. But if you don't really want to sort it, it's alright. So we're gonna save that, and we're gonna back to Unity. And let's hope it works. So we're gonna say disable C cameras. And you can see it's disabled. So if you bring it back and set enable C cameras, even if you don't type anything, it have a single one, it's gonna suggest it to you. So now it's way easier to type and test. We're gonna add a couple of more items. We're gonna disable laser fences, which is pretty much the same. You find every fence by tag. You disable, in this case, not a mesh collider, but box collider, and you change material color just to make them nice and green. As I said, this is delegate which you register. So all fences. Game objects with tag fences, and then box collider enabled equals to false or true, depending on what flag you're passing, and you change the material color. If it's enabled, it's red, and disabled, it's green. I'm gonna save it and go back. Alright, so we're gonna come really close to this fence, and we're gonna bring terminal, and we're gonna set disable, and hit double tap. Right now we have an ambiguity. We don't have a single item to enable disable. It doesn't know which one he wants, so it like spits out everything he knows. If you type disable L, now it knows what to disable. And bang, you have this good to go. And nothing bad happens. You can actually trap yourself here. If you said disable lasers, oh, sorry, my bad, not disable, enable lasers. So now you're kind of stuck. and you go here, and everyone's gonna try to kill, especially this guy. Okay, and the last one, which still kind of like makes us an obstacle, the security guards. We want them to be blind if we disable them, so we can pass through them and nothing bad happens. I was thinking to do like with a config var, but I can show you an alternative way. If you don't really want to, if you don't trust me, you don't want to put my plugin in your code, especially with config vars, you can just use your own Boolean flag and change it through the command. We're gonna go to scripts, and we're gonna create a C# script, debug cheat. Let me just, debug cheat. We're gonna open it. It should not be mono behavior. It's better to be static, and we don't actually need to have Lunar with that. I guess I can cheat like that. All right. It's just a plain static flag. Disable enemy AI, and you're only gonna change it from the terminal command. So even if this flag gonna be in your code, it's not a big deal. To make enemy blind, we need to open the script called enemy side, and I went ahead and actually prepared myself. On trigger stay, they actually reset this flag, which indicates if enemy can see you or not. So basically, if you turn here, you're gonna make your enemies blind. If debug cheat disable enemy AI, return. If you really want to keep your code clean, you can set if Unity editor or any other define. You can use your own debug defines, and if. In this case, you're not gonna screw it up, even if you want really bad. Okay, let's first of all we're gonna add an item for that. What it does, first of all, it switches the flag. So disable is opposite to enable. We pass a flag and we invert it. Then we try to figure out which color we're gonna use. So if it's enable, it's gonna be no color gonna stay white, so no override. If bot vision is disabled, it's gonna be green. So you can see a bot and you can clearly say that he's not gonna attack you. And this one is really bad line of code. You get every object and then you iterate and check by name. This is really, really bad. But who cares? We use it in editor. And I can see Unity guys here. So. And we're gonna take its skin mesh render component and switch the color. Okay, we're gonna save that and come back to Unity. And compiles, yep. We're gonna bring terminal here and set disable. And now we have three things to disable AI. Okay, and we're gonna go and find this guy and see if he still wants to kill me. Nope. Hey, hello. Nope, he doesn't care much. But if I go here and I set enable AI, hey, there we go. And now he sees me and he wants to kill me and I die. As you can see, we have three stuff to disable, but we need to type it disable, blah, 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 disable, blah, blah, blah. We can actually add a shortcut. We can say disable all. No matter how many items we have, or enable all. We want to disable or enable them all at once. It's really easy, actually. Like, I like using this lookup pattern, how you can call it, because you can configure your stuff at runtime. You're not hard-coded, and for this case, if you want to disable all you need to do is just to add another lookup item, which is gonna just iterate through every key except itself, and disable or enable them. It's really simple. You iterate through keys and set if it's all, so we don't really want to go in recursion. You said lookup, enable, disable. We're gonna save it, go back to Unity. I'm gonna run it and disable, and you can see we have more stuff to disable. Disable all. All right, and let's go and beat the game. like security camera, like, hey buddy, and, oh yeah, I need to pick up this key. Oh, and we go here, and that's it. We beat it, and no one ever stopped us. Because when I was playing with this game, I was like, I want to check that, and you can't actually see it, but security guard can see it from the distance, and then everything goes red, and then you die. Once again, using configs, you can create some predefined configurations for you. For example, I want to start the game without laser fences and cameras, but still with bots enabled. It's really easy. All you need to do, you need to create a play mode config and open with your favorite text editor, and you can set disable cameras, disable, what was this, laser fences, play, and you can see they're all disabled except this little guy. Oh crap, I wonder if I can make it. No, I'm gonna have it. Do I have anything else? Nah, that's it. Okay, and the last one. I don't really want to bore you guys anymore. So the last one is angry bots. Who knows angry bots? This is really old. It's from Unity 3.4. It's like 20 years ago. I don't know. But you can still open it in Unity 5. It's amazing. You open it in Unity 5, hit like update my code, and it runs well. Because like Stealth doesn't do that. And even a Space Shooter, I need to fix that. If you download it, it doesn't work. You need to go and change some stuff, fix that. This just works. Angry Bots is really big. I never actually beat it without cheats. It has a giant location and 6 checkpoints. And I actually discovered how this game ends when I was preparing to the talk and added cheats. Like, wow, it actually have like a final scene with big explosion in the end. Any questions so far?
Another question. When you were adding in the autocomplete, did I see correctly that you had to add in support for that yourself?
No, it has. You have it out of the box, but you can have one which resolves dynamically.
You have one, sorry.
So autocomplete works out of the box. So if you have a commands options, it's gonna help you. But if you have custom arguments, you have basically 2 options. You can have when it loads, I'm going to show you. You can set a predefined set of arguments you want to use, or you can resolve at runtime. And in my case, I need to resolve it at runtime because I had this lookup dictionary. And it's not like hard-coded. I populated it at runtime. So I need to actually get all the keys and speed them out. So like filter them and speed them out. If I'm going to hard-code, so for example, I'm going to add like disable and check if name equals blah, 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 then I need to do it twice. I need to gather all the names and move them to autocomplete. And if I've missed one, I'm going to miss autocomplete. If I delete it from one place, forget to delete from the second place, it's going to be bad. I can show you. Angry Bots. In this one, we're gonna move between checkpoints. We're gonna save time by importing from desktop. Here we go in the editor. So again, we're gonna create. As CJ mentioned, autocomplete goes out of the box. Now I'm gonna show you how it works. Come on. We're going to be done in 8 minutes. No worries. Here's the command, right? And you said, I want this command to be test. Oh, crap. Okay, let's try again. I want it to be named test, and it's going to be available both in play mode and editor. And you said this command can only accept. Oh, I forgot to add using statement. So this command only gonna accept. Come on. The following values: 1, 2, 3. And we're going to just do like that. Oh, we'll go. Okay, we're going to save that and go back. Okay, so now we have our test command, right? And you can see it says unexpected arguments count, and it shows usage 1, 2, 3. So if you type test 1, test 2, oh, 2, 3. But if you set 4, it said unexpected arg 4. But if you go 1, you're good. So, but if you want to resolve it at runtime, you actually need to override that. But for stuff like options, so if you, I don't know, those. If you create an option, you're going to have this auto-completion too. Now, and I probably need to use it. If we're both. So now we introduced a Unix style option. If you set this option, you're going to have this output. If not, you're not going to have it out. Compiling this stuff and coming back, and you set test 1. And you can see nothing happens. But if you set test v1, or you can test verbose 1, you can see auto-completion works for your predefined arguments and options. And you can define options of any type. You can even define arrays. So you can define arrays, and you just pass numbers, and you're going to count arguments and tell you if error exists. And it's pretty cool. This is like the first one. You can do the second one if you can just hardcore that. You can add them like that. Come on. I'm not sure what it's, if I'm not mistaken, what's string array. But in this case, you can construct it at runtime. It's going to have the same effect. It has auto-completion. But if you have dynamic dispatch auto-completion, for example, for many built-in command, as you can see, I type write config, and it suggested me the name. And when I create config, it adds to auto-completion. So, for example, right now, if I have cat, I have no auto-completion. If I don't have anything to put. If I create one, and now I have auto-completion. If I create another one, write config play mode, and now I have 2. So this is how it dynamically dispatches auto-completion. You can do that, you cannot, but for this case, it's really helpful because you don't really want to type it. Okay, I forgot what I was there. Oh yeah, checkpoints. So we're going to remove this nicely crafted test command, and we're going to add a couple of using statements. Using system. Using system. And we're going to create a command which is going to manage checkpoints for us. Very simple. What makes it a bit different from the rest, it has an optional argument. So it means you can have an argument or you cannot. If you not, you can pass a default value. For example, this case is null, but it can be anything else, just like C# supports it. So how it works. If we type checkpoint, it works. Checkpoint 1, it works too. But checkpoints 1, 2 doesn't work. And it said usage and square brackets mean optional parameter. You can pass it or you cannot pass it, like if you want. Checkpoint command is going to do this fold. First of all, we're going to pass a checkpoint name or a prefix, and it's going to try to resolve checkpoint. Then it's going to find a player object, and if we're in a player mode, you're going to instantly transfer there. How checkpoints work in this game? Basically, if you go to hierarchy and just type checkpoints, this is going to be a parent object for every checkpoint in the game. So we have like 6 of them, and let's try and focus it. Come on. So there's like first chamber. Oh, I hate that. Oh. All right. So this is how checkpoint looks like. It has a couple of colliders, a model, and a spawn transform. Spawn transform is basically what brings you into the checkpoint. So this is where your player is going to end up. And I went ahead and I created another spawn transform script, and with a property of name. Here's what I created. Just you can have a way to name a checkpoint. So we can, hey, go to checkpoint inner base. You can just type it. But I haven't designed this game, so I have no idea how to call them. Spawn transform. I'm going to call them from 1 to 6. The first one, second one, third one, and so on. So the first one going to be 1, second one going to be 2, 3, and we're not modifying prefab, we're modifying instances, 5, and 6. All right, now we have a way to identify our checkpoints by numbers, but it can be any string you want. What are we going to do? We're going to find a checkpoint here. But this is a bit tricky because you can execute command with not just the full name of checkpoint. It can be like just a part of a name, and we need to handle it gracefully. Come on, get it out. So we're gonna create a helper method here. Find spawn transforms. What it does, you pass a prefix and you return an IList of spawn transforms. You first of all you find an object of types find objects of type spawn transform, and then you said if your prefix is null or empty, return everything. If not, let's filter them. So we iterate through the list, and if name is not null and name starts with this prefix, ignore case, then we add it to filter it. And here's one tricky part. I don't return list or array, I return IList. Why I do that? Because if I return IList, I can return array and list of the same type. I didn't know that actually. I found out a couple of months ago. It was so awesome. So if you can just return array and list from the same method. If you didn't know that, it's especially good for these cases because if I'm going to return just one, just list, and I have an array of transforms, I need to put them into the list. If I return the array, I need to put the list into array, and it's just unnecessary. And in this case, you can return whatever you have. This guy is going to find us every transform which starts with this prefix. We're going to find them right here, and we're going to check if we have a single result, so just one, so we type the full name. We're going to find a player and move it there. If we type a partial name, we're going to just list them. If you don't, what checkpoints are? So let's let's compile and see. Of course, generic. For our checkpoints, which goes from 1, how is that? From 1 to 6. So I'm going to say checkpoint, and we just show every checkpoint we have. But it should filter, but I didn't bother to put adequate names, just 1 to 6. Next, it's pretty obvious. We need to find a player, and this is why this is a bad practice. Never put strings there. You better create a separate class and stores all your tags there. Don't put strings, because you're gonna rename something and you're gonna break your code. I've been there. And there was like actually move to check. Okay, move to checkpoint, and we only should do that in a play mode, because if we execute this command in the editor mode, we're actually going to move the parent checkpoint and modify the scene, and this is not what we want. This is another interesting case. This project is written in JavaScript. You can't just communicate between C# and JavaScript. They're not compatible. We have this class. It's called span-up checkpoint. It's actually not a class. It's a script. It's a JavaScript script. And we have a function called spawn add. We cannot just call it from C#. We need to send a message. We get this component, and we don't have a class. We just have a name, but it derives from components. So we get a player, get the component, and then we just send a message. We said, call me this function, and you're going to pass the first transform in the list. Let's try it out. Okay, so here's our player, and he's going to be the first annoying guy. This is what I was talking about. I killed it like 60 times already. Checkpoint 1. And this is the first checkpoint, right? Okay, let's go. Checkpoint 2. And this one is really cool because it beats the game. And this is what I was talking about. You know, like first time I saw it, like, whoa! Woo! It just beats the game. Look, this awesome explosion in the back. This is how you beat the game fast, right? And we have 4 more. I'm just gonna show you. Checkpoint 3. Maybe this guy started attacking us. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. This is why this game is really hard to beat. This location is giant, and they have this giant mech warriors which kill you really fast. Here's the question: what should we do if we're in an editor? We can use Lunar in an editor as well. We're gonna move your camera focus to the checkpoint if you're not in a play mode. This command is gonna work both ways. Grab it from here. So if we have a single transform and we're in a play mode, application is playing, then we're gonna actually move the player. Else, we're gonna move camera focus. No. You need to add using Unity editor, and it's safe to do so because this command lies in the editor folder. So Unity editor assembly and namespace is available here, but you cannot use it in your production coding game. What are we going to do? We're going to set this transfer active object and frame selected. Here we go. And here I'm going to type checkpoint 1. And here we can quickly jump to the first checkpoint. Checkpoint 2. We're on a second checkpoint. And this is really handy. If you need to find an element, you need to go to hierarchy, type it. You can add a helper commands to quickly jump to point of interest. You can bind it to keys wherever. You can even do shortcuts. Lunar supports like Shift plus Alt plus 1, stuff like that. You can bind it to control if you want. Okay, and once again, you can always use a config. For example, in a play mode, you want to start at checkpoint 3. I'm probably going to be changing that because to create a config, it's kind of a long way. Write config play mode and then cut E play mode. It's probably going to go away. So I could checkpoint 2, no, 3. And we're going to go back and we're going to start playing. As you can see, nothing changed here because this is only for play mode. We don't really want to, every time you start your editor, just move between checkpoints. We're going to play it. And now we accept damage. We probably can add another one for just being. You can see I've already lost a bunch of health. I'm yellow, and oh crap! There's a guy I told you about. This is a great. I kill him. No way. It was the first time, and it's on camera. Okay, this is it. This concludes our demo. I really hope you can find something useful for your development. My key point: you not just use console in your game. There are a bunch of plugins on the asset store, and especially those crappy $5 plugins. Just hey, here's $5 my plugin, no documentation, nothing. My idea: you should use it both in your game, which is going to come soon, and especially true in the editor. You can do a lot of stuff in the editor with command line. I actually, my own project, I do command line builds, like build iOS or run Android. And that you don't, or switch player, like switch, and you hit double tap and display all the platforms you support. So this is not just for games. This is extremely useful in the editor, especially when you just try to move around quickly, like between checkpoints and stuff. Okay, couple more slides. I'm not charging you for this project, right? But I would strongly encourage you to go and rate it, because rating actually attracts more attention and potential contributors. More people can use it, give feedback. It can grow better and better. Because as you can see, someone give me 1 star. I have more than 1,000 unit tests for that, including UI test. It's extremely stable. It doesn't crash. Who the hell with 1 star and why I only got like really. So if you go and get 1 star, please tell me why. If you don't like it, I really want to know why you don't like it and fix that. But when some guy just gives me 1 star, it drops my rating, and then no, 3 stars, no, I'm not gonna use it. So please go and rate. Some useful resources. Well, first of all, asset store. You can go download that. Why it's better to get it from the asset store? Because it's easier to update. When new version ships, you just press update files, and it just updates those files who changed. Whenever I create a plugin, if I messed up with metadata, it's gonna create a duplicate of files, and it screws up your project really bad. I've been there. This sucks. I have a YouTube channel. You can better take a picture of this link, because Space Madness is Ren and Stimpy, and if you type Space Madness, you're gonna see Ren and Stimpy, and this is exactly why I call my company Space Madness, because I love Ren and Stimpy. I'm on Twitter, it's SucksX, and I'm on Facebook, it's a bit better. But I would strongly encourage you to go and check. I have 4 video tutorials for this game, and they're like half an hour length. And I'm not just doing this like dropping code, and actually explain how I achieve, like why I can disable camera, how it works. So it's like more detailed, because when I tried to rehearse this talk with a full without code snippets, it took me 2 hours. And I know I'm way ahead of time. Right.